Hi guys, what is up? Nice Rachel we're having. We are back doing Life is Strange Before the Storm analysis. This is Elliot's Empty, Chapter 3, pretty much the final one. We will be doing Farewell, but that's almost like a separate pre-prequel thing. So yeah, we're just going to go straight away from the events that happened. We learned that Rose isn't Rachel's mum, and actually Sara, the blonde, mysterious girl that we've been seeing all over the shop, is. And it starts off with a bit of James' backstory. Where we get to see James in his jock days, looking like an absolute stud. Is it me? Am I the only person who laughed at this? I feel like it was supposed to be a serious scene. I just could not take James seriously, like when he gives her the eyes. I don't know if you thought that, Jack.
I didn't notice that, but one thing I will say about James, it sort of comes off the end of like the last episode. I don't know if like the voice actor was trying to land the role of Batman, but he speaks really slowly, like really dramatically, doesn't he? Like, she is your mother. Like, whenever he speaks, I don't know what it is about the guy, but I feel like it's almost hypnotic, sort of like thinking, God, you could drift off to sleep if he was reading a book or something like that.
No, I don't. I completely get you. It's like apparently Sarah was the popular girl at school. Why the fuck she picked James, I will not know. But yeah, that's what we get. But yeah, it's a pretty fun scene. I don't know if you felt the same there, Anya.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little goofy, like the young James and everything, but I think I really like too the way that they present like the backstory and memories, like through the viewfinder again. Like I think that was just really cool and kind of cute for like Chloe and Rachel in particular too, because they did that through the first episode.
Yeah, it was really cool stylistically. I feel like every like Life is Strange game has like a trippy sequence on the final episode, and this is like the closest we have to it. I like the fact it didn't emulate it too much, but it did its own little thing, and it was at the start of the episode rather than the end, which was quite cool. But guys, I'm just going to kind of go straight into it. We kind of have this like bit philosophical sort of debate here, and it kind of bleeds into the end choice, so I won't touch on it too much. But you obviously have James, and he kind of says that he cut her out to protect Rachel since Sarah was a user and paid her off to stay away. But equally, he lied and sort of said that Rose was her real mum. I just want to kind of ask you guys, do you kind of side with James or Sarah on this? I'll start with you, Jack.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? You could do a whole video on this. I feel like he was right to protect Rachel, but I feel like up to a certain age, he then had to disclose what was happening, what the situation was, which I do understand is difficult because you've got Rose there, and as a little side piece, I'm really surprised that Rose didn't kick off, to be honest with you. The fact that he's just gone and kissed his ex-wife or whatever, and she just sort of stands there like, it's what happens in marriage. Yeah, so it's a difficult one. I feel like even when we talk about towards the end of this episode, you could revisit it with like Sarah as well. But he should have told Rachel, but when she was old enough to do it, I think.
Yeah, like I feel like, and it's hard to say too, like if he was doing it all with like good intentions, because like he's wrapped up in some shady dealings as well that we find out. So I don't know. Like I'm sure there was a good intention to protect her from Rachel, but then like I agree that after a certain point, or like if Sarah was still reaching out and being like, "Hey, I'm better now," or like, "Can I please talk to my daughter?" Like, then you talk to Rachel about that and be like, "Hey, this is gonna be a heavy conversation," instead of just letting her find out randomly if you're gonna be smooching up with her real mom out in public.
Nah, I agree with all of you, and I definitely think, yeah, like I get James's intentions for protecting Rachel, but like I just don't get why you'd lie about that whole thing. There's nothing wrong with saying, "Oh, Rose is your stepmom. We don't talk about your real mum." There's something going on there which you'll later learn, and I think Rachel could have forgiven that. But the fact that he spent this long lying, and like Rachel's whole life is almost like a lie, yeah, doesn't bode well. So yeah, that definitely will bleed into how we do our end choice, I guess. So yeah, like we go around, we can help Rose and stuff, and we can kind of debrief. Rachel's kind of in her room, like having a cry, understandably so. And then we can go up to Rachel's room, and then we'll get a bit of a dream sequence. I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like when they create the bedrooms in the Life is Strange universe, whether it's Max's, Chloe's, Rachel's, it really kind of helps you like discover who that person is. But I don't know about you, but I just really like the design of Rachel Ream. You had like the kind of the stars design or like the posters and stuff. It really kind of just brought her character out as a person. Don't know if you guys have anything to comment on this regard.
Yeah, I really like it too. And I love like all the clutter and everything that are in each of their rooms, and just like showing their characterization, like what they're into, what they want to put on their walls. Like Rachel has like the map, I think, so that's like a good little insight to them, just like maybe like pointing out one state and being like, we should go here, or something like that. Just something cute to think about. And then I love the star lamp, and that she loves the stars as well. And I love purple, so just like the whole vibe of that room when it's just purple and stars on the ceiling is just perfect to me.
Yeah, as for me, I feel like it's a good scene because I feel like it talks about Rachel a hell of a lot. Like, you know, when they've got like the stars and they're talking about them, and Rachel's sort of saying, "Oh, they're dead, so therefore they're a liar," sort of thing. And Chloe's like, "Yeah, but they're still beautiful." And it's really like Rachel coming to terms with the fact that she's been living a lie for her whole life, like not knowing her mum, the deception from her dad. And I just feel like, again, sort of coming back to comments I made in the previous episode, like how it brings nicely her relationship with Chloe, who very much lives in the cold, hard reality with the death of her dad, with the, you know, David moving in with Joyce being suspended or expelled from college. You've then got someone like Rachel, who's very popular, but she's completely out of the know in terms of sort of the various goings on in her life and how these two characters have been put together. And I feel like all of that was stuff that was going on in my mind when they were talking about the stars and how things can appear beautiful, but they also feel like they're a lie, at least in Rachel's case.
No, it's a very good point. And yeah, I totally agree. It's definitely why Rachel gravitates towards Chloe, because she's just like, you know, kind of like fresh sort of like injection of reality, right? And that probably, you know, is what Rachel seeks and needs. So yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, we get like another, probably our last like freaky William dream sequence, and then we end up back at the Price house where we get a few choices that come out from this. So the whole crux of this whole bit is where you call Frank and you're going to meet him at the junkyard to kind of ask about Sara or whatever. One thing of note is that we get the first bit of blue in Chloe's hair. And I've mentioned it before, I love that from prologues where it kind of gives you a bit of a journey of how things got to where they did. And I thought we were going to get total blue Chloe at this point. We will later on, not just yet, but I don't know about you guys, but I just really like that we had this version of Chloe that just had one blue sort of strand in her hair. Did you guys feel the same, Anya?
Yeah, I do like to see like how it started, but I hate like the sequence in which she like dyed her hair. Like there was no like bleaching involved. She showered first and then applied the dye. Like, makes no sense.
Yeah, I used to dye my hair, and because I've got black hair, like completely unrealistic. So I'm with you on that one, Anya. How about you, Jack?
I liked it. It was sort of like, you know how we was talking about in the last episode where she sort of found the car, made up the car, and it was like the start of Chloe being like her absolute wreck of a ride, you could say. This is almost like the birth of the blue hair. It's sort of like, again, we're starting to see the Chloe that we recognise from season 1. And another thing I noticed as well is that you see Rachel has like an earring in with like a blue feather, and it's like the exact same blue. And I feel like whether that was intentional or not, I don't know, but is that like a subtle way of like her influence on Chloe? Like she sort of dyed her hair the exact same blue that you had with in like the feather of Rachel's earring.
No, it's a very good point. Bit of semiotics analysis. I love that.
Yeah.
It's on the same side too, is it not? Like they're both on the...
I have to check. I'll get it. I'll have it on the screen so you guys at home can see. But yeah, we have like obviously in Life is Strange 1, we had Max, who was a bit of a plant mum. Chloe, not the same. You can either neglect the plant or you can kill it with soda. What did you guys do?
Killed it.
Killed it with soda. I was like, at least it's something, you know. At least I'm trying.
Yeah.
Just
You know,
leave it there.
she could have just gone to a tap and got a glass, but oh well, yeah, we're giving that yeah, it's just some Dr. Pepper for that plant killing it, all three of us. Oh well. Later on we get David, who comes with an apology, and he talks about how his best mate in the army passed away, and he offers you the photo as like an apology. So I just wanted to kind of ask you guys, did you accept his photo? I'll start with you, Anya.
Yeah, I did. And I know, like I said too, like when he offered to restart or something, like I don't feel like my Chloe at that point would have agreed to do that. But then I feel like just rejecting the photo in this instance with like his whole like story, like, oh, it's my friend I lost in the war. It just feels like rude, even for Chloe. And so I took it. And it's not like she has to like keep it and put it in her wallet. She can just take it and put it somewhere. But
Yeah, I accepted it as well for the same reasons. You have to be a bit of an arse not to, wouldn't you? But there are 10% of people that did reject it.
And I was one of them. No, I mean, like in my original playthrough, I did accept it. I just felt that was the right thing to do. We do know that David is a bit of a savior in the first game, so it's like, yeah, fair play. Let's actually build from scratch at this point. In the stream, though, the people who joined got the say, and they wanted to reject it. And you know what? You would think this is a bit of a nothing choice, and arguably is, but it does actually affect a little something. I don't know if you guys know this, but in the outro, there'll be a clip of like David proposing to Joyce. World's shittest proposal, by the way. He just does it in the kitchen, like no sort of gesture or anything. Not even at the lighthouse, but just in the kitchen, you know. But like, if Rachel accepts the photo, she'll join in and like kind of hug them at the end, I believe. But because I rejected it, she kind of like gives them the middle finger. So I like the fact that it just slightly affects like how the outro plays out, and they actually built two different animations for this choice. So I thought that was just a really neat feature that, you know, I appreciated personally. We're going over now to the junkyard, where you have a little mini game where you have to like fix the truck and stuff. Then Rachel, then Frank, then Damon comes. Damon arrives, and things get pretty heated, where like Rachel ends up getting stabbed here, and if you still have the money, you can actually give it to Damon at this point. Am I right in thinking though that all of us don't have money at this point? We all gave it away.
yeah.
No, I had the money and I gave it to him.
Oh, okay. So do you remember what specifically happens if you give the money to Damon at this point?
I really can't, but judging by looking back at your playthrough, lad, I don't think there's that much of a difference, because obviously she still gets stabbed, Frank still jumps in to stop the guy, and then you drive away. But obviously I still had the money because I didn't give it to Drew or Drew's family in the last one, did I?
Yeah.
So,
he's a bit of a dick, this guy, isn't it? If it's not Drew's knee or Mikey's arm, it's Rachel's. And it's just like, yeah, this guy needs to chill. Like, I get he's in the drug game, but is it really that severe where he needs to be beating kids up? What a fucking loser, honestly. But yeah, so sadness, Rachel's hospitalized. And there's a lot you can do here. Depending on your choice in the last episode, if Drew or Mikey got hurt, you can, either like have a back talk section with Drew for his pudding, or if you get, which is what I did in my original, but in this one we switched it up a bit, and you actually get to play tabletop again for like, you get one an episode, and if you had this choice, you get to play tabletop with Mikey. And I was gutted because I was killing it with the back talks. This is the first time I failed it. I think I was like 2-0 up, and then I just blundered every single one, and I felt awful. So yeah, but what did you guys make of this whole section going around the hospital?
Overall, I think it's a weird choice to put Rachel out of commission here in the hospital, like on the last episode when like this whole thing is just like focused around Chloe and Rachel. But that's like a whole nother conversation to be had. And then I do like that you can kind of hear like through one of the doors, like Nathan and Samantha are talking. And then the firefighters are saying like, oh yeah, the fire just put itself out, I guess. Life really is strange. But I love the tabletop with Mikey, because that's what I ended up getting, and I just like being able to play through it with that man with Steph. Love Steph. And I think it's really cute too that Drew will hop in to play with Mikey too, and Mikey's like, what, really? Because like First time, like, Drew was just like, that's for fucking nerds. Like, who even plays that shit? But I think it's funny too that his character dies like 2 minutes in. So it's like the effort was there. Like he was trying to be a supportive little brother or big brother, and it failed, but it was funny.
Yeah, I do agree. And even in the outro, you can sort of see like the clip of them on the bench where you originally play tabletop, and Drew's with them. And I thought that was just a really cool feature that's there. And I'm really glad you mentioned the Easter egg because, yeah, apparently you can like go to one of the doors and you can hear like a doctor speak to Mr. Prescott about the state of their son. And again, like when we like look at Life is Strange 1, when you break into Nathan's room, you see like there's pills for like diazepam and stuff. And it's just cool that they're kind of building in those breadcrumbs which lead you to those things. So yeah, no, really cool. Jack, how about yourself?
As for me, I sparred with Drew over pudding. I feel like I've come on a journey in this. I was so compliant and I've just been an absolute arse in this final episode, giving money to drug dealers and sparring over pudding. But I have got notes. Bear in mind, guys, these were written like over a year ago, so I can't quite remember them fully. But it says here that Sean Prescott was covering the medical expenses of Drew getting beaten up. I don't know where I got that from, but I thought that was interesting. And apparently in the hospital, you also hear that Nathan has been sent to a psychiatrist for alarming symptoms, which is something you can literally just overhear it in the hospital. So I don't know if you guys had that in your playthrough, but
I definitely missed the Prescott thing, and I had to read up about that one. But yeah, and the thing you mentioned with Drew, it definitely makes sense. Hence why Ray Wells was like covering his case in a different manner to Chloe's. So yeah, just really interesting how that all came about. The other thing as well is that like you could donate to like the firefighting fund, and I don't know if it actually like has a difference. I know like Chloe will have like a dialogue in there like, oh, they should name a fire engine after me, but like I like the idea, and I don't know if this is the case where if you donate all the money that you have to the firefighting fund, that your menu at the end you'll get like the forest as normal again. And I thought that would be like a nice little payoff if you decide to go down that route. I don't know if that happens or not. I don't think it does, but do correct me if I'm wrong. But regardless though, we leave the hospital after like Rachel's like, look, I want to meet my mum, you need to sort this out. And then you go on your solo quest from this point. We'll barge past Eliot, who is prying, he wants to know what's going on, but fuck that guy. And then we end up in like James's office. Now, I quite like this section. It's like a little bit of like an escape room. You have to find where the key is. You have to go through all the files. You have to like text from his phone and stuff. And eventually you find out that there is a mole, which is going against Damon, that is working with James or whatever. And it turns out the mole was the cool bouncer guy, Thunder, at the start of the episode. Now, you can either be truthful and frame him, or you can frame someone else. I want to know what you guys did, so I'll start with you, Jack.
I've got it written down here that I accused Sheldon to be the snitch. So did I get that wrong then?
I mean, you got it. Technically, it's wrong, but Thunder's a cool dude. So, like, it might be that you want to throw someone else. And if you remember, Sheldon punched us in the face on the first episode. So I did the same deliberately because I was like, yeah, fucking let's take that guy down instead. I don't want to frame the cool bouncer guy. He let me into the concert. So yeah, I think it is like morally the best one, but like factually the wrong one. So yeah, it just kind of depends where you kind of lie. Anya, how about yourself?
I think I did the exact same thing where it's like I figured it out. It was Thunder. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. He was good. He was good to us at least. And then I accused Sheldon for the skeevy guy because he's just gross. He deserves it.
Yeah, no, I guess we all did the same thing. Fuck that guy. And for some reason, our good old friend Eliot followed us, and he ends up in the office, and he demands that you tell him what's going on because he's such a saint, an incel for you, and he's like, yeah, you need to tell me, and he starts getting pretty forceful. Anya, I'm going to give you the floor for this one because I know how much you love Eliot. That's what happened with you and what you thought of the scene.
I think I have mixed feelings overall, like on this scene, like just in general with the office, because I don't know, I feel like we're losing the plot a little bit here, and like it was a cool sequence to do, but it just didn't feel like it fit with the rest of the story that was being told at the moment. And then Eliot pissed me off throughout the entire thing, and I was just like, yeah, of course you're here. Of course you're a fucking freak. I knew you would be. Like, we thought Warren was bad. Nah. But I ended up getting the back talk thing successfully done to get the cops called on him. I think that's a really cool thing, and just like picking the right things to not tip him off, but then also give like 911 the right information for them to get to that place in the first place. But then it's like, I want to know what happens afterwards. Like, James is gonna be in like some hot water, isn't he? Like, or are they just gonna pin it all on Eliot? Like, what's happening here? We just get away and that's it?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, I then felt very, very silly early on in the game saying that, oh yeah, we should go together to the, the play and what have you. Because yeah, he becomes an absolute freak, doesn't he? Very strong stalker vibes, very strong manipulator vibes. When really, I mean, he's sat there saying, "Oh, everyone, no one cares for you, this and that. I'm the one that cares for you." And yet he brings up like your dead dad and your absent friend to try and justify that he's the one that cares for you the most. And you just sit there thinking, "Oh, you absolute arse." So like, yeah, it was the same for me. Like the, bringing up the back talk to try and let the cops, which I've got to say, the cops turned up pretty darn quick. So Arcadia Bay Police were absolutely on it that day. But yeah, he honestly, Warren is an angel compared to this guy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You know what? Originally, I actually, like, on my original playthrough, I failed the back talk at this section, and I can't quite remember what happened, if you had to, like, barge past him or something. But, like, yeah, luckily I managed to do it successfully. But I think it's really cool because Eliot, like, from a surface level, he does seem like this, like, fairly nice character who's just a bit smitten in Chloe. But I do think that is a really well-written character in the sense that there are a proportion of men out there who are all nice on the surface, who, like, maybe do or say all the right things, but then they think they're owed something, and then they're actually quite a toxic individual. And although it isn't apparent that Eliot is a bit of a dark character at the start, and as dark and as creepy as it does become, I do quite like how they captured that kind of, like, character, because those people do exist out there, and I think it's like important we like write those people into like media. So yeah, like at least we got away with Chloe scot-free, and then we're safe and we don't have to see him for the rest of the game, other than in the outro where he's packing his boxes and he gets kicked out of Blackwell, hence why he isn't in Life is Strange 1. We love to see it. Fuck you, Eliot. But then we drive through the burned forest, we get a final talk with William. I said final before, but this is the final one. I forgot it happened again. And we end up at the old mill where we're getting to the big conclusion of our game, where we sort of see Damon and Sara. We can overhear them talking. You can grab a knife. You can also like grab Damon's phone, and you can see Sheldon like, "Look, I swear to God, it wasn't me." And that was pretty funny to see as well. And then we get this really sort of dark scene where like Damon eventually like beats you up a little bit, injects Sara. It's like a really harrowing watch, to be honest. And then Frank comes in there to save the day. Now, we've not spoke too much about Frank this episode because he's a bit of a grey character where he does things right and wrong. He obviously, like, what I forgot to mention is that, like, when Rachel got stabbed, he went and I think he was fighting Damon, and clearly Damon's won this fight. But then he saves the day and they have this off-screen battle. And I'm just going to kind of skip to the outro. But there's this shot of Frank kind of like having a beer or a smoke or whatever it is in front of his RV where there's a fire. And then he's burning a photo like covered in blood of him and Damon. And if you look at the background, there's actually like a shovel, and like he's clearly buried Damon. So Frank's killed this individual here. And I don't even know if I picked this up in my first playthrough, which was just incredible because it's like right there. But I just wanted to kind of gauge your guys' reaction. What do you think of Frank? Do you love him for saving the day? Is there still that little part of you that's like, I think he's a bad individual? I kind of just want your thoughts on Frank as a character, and if Before the Storm has kind of changed your perspective on him. I'll start with you, Jack.
That's news to me about the whole shovel thing. That is news to me. The way I see Frank is that he mixes in the wrong circles, but he does show that sort of humanity and that loyalty to certain people, and by certain people I mean Chloe and obviously Rachel in this instance. So would I hang out with him? No, because he's influenced by wrong people, like Damon, for example. But do I hold him in the same regards as Damon, Sheldon, so on? No, I don't.
I love and I hate Frank. Like, the Beans line is iconic.
Yeah.
I do like how they try to make him likable, I guess, in this prequel. Like, by having him save Chloe and stuff and just kind of begrudgingly helping because, like, I guess he kind of liked her, she's pretty cool. But then it's like in the first game, they're just like beefing heavily. And I guess, like, I don't know what happened within those 3 years. Maybe she's just like keeps racking up her debt, and then sticking her nose in his business. So he might just get pissed off over time. And then there's also like, you're a grown man. Like, how do you end up with Rachel? Like, what are you doing? But I don't know. I like what they try to do with him, but it's just like, I feel like it doesn't fit as like a character overall.
No, I do get you. I like the fact that he like saves the day, and Life is Strange have this habit of making somewhat a bad egg, like we had with David in Life is Strange 1, come at the end and become good. So it's nice to see he save the day, but I do agree there are certain red flags there which just can't be doused in a way. But yeah, still though, nonetheless though, pretty cool to see. So when we wake up with Sarah, there's this whole sort of speech about how she's like, oh, I can't meet Rachel. Like, I'm going to fall back in the same habits or whatever. And you have to try and talk her back into it if you wish. Now, there is like a really hidden secret ending where like Sarah can actually meet Rachel, but I'm pretty sure it's really difficult to achieve. You've got to do certain right dialogue options. You've got to have like possession of a bracelet, I believe. I could be wrong there. But I just kind of wanted to gauge your guys' opinions, like, what did you think of this scene? Like, did you really want Rachel to meet Sarah here? I'll start with you, Anya.
Yeah, and then that just reminded me too, because I forgot we just like skipped to this, and then going back to like the Frank and the Damon thing. I hate that like our playable character is just like completely out of commission for like that quote unquote final battle, like we don't do anything, we get knocked out, and then it's like, oh, don't worry, Frank took care of it, and now we're just talking to Sarah. It's no big deal. I thought it was like a dream or something at first. But yeah, finding or getting Sarah to meet Rachel is very difficult. I did not get it the first time I did it because I was just picking all the wrong things. Like, even just like 1 or 2 wrong answers, like you're locked out of it. So I had to look it up for my recent playthrough because I was trying to get that storyline concluded, because like, I don't know, she seems to have been doing much better for herself, like all these years like getting sober just to meet Rachel again, and then you got here and now it's like, oh, never mind. Like, what do you mean? Why do I, like some random punk teenage girl who's friends with your daughter, why do I have to convince you to stay?
You're so right. Oh my god, I never really thought that way, but I'm like, yeah, you're bang on.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get Sarah to meet Rachel either. But coming back to like the conversation, it was what I was talking about earlier when we was like talking about James and is he a good father figure? Isn't he? The sort of the greyness in that, and we're literally seeing it again with Sarah. And as far as the choice comes down to it, because obviously she's trying to convince you, no, look, listen. If she finds out everything that her dad did, the sort of the liaising with Damon, to trying to get, things done to Sarah, what have you, it's going to destroy her, right? So you are put in this predicament. But to ultimately jump to like the choice, I guess, I felt like this whole game has been built around the fact that Rachel's life has been a lie. It's all been a performance, which I think again is actually quite a nice tie into like the whole play thing from earlier on. But like, I was thinking, no, I've got to tell her. I've got to tell her everything that's been going on, because otherwise Chloe's just continuously part of the conspiracy in a way to hold everything back from Rachel. So yeah, to jump forward a little bit, mate, I made sure that Rachel knew everything.
Okay, so you told the truth. What did you do there, Anya?
I think both times I told the truth, because it's interesting for both of them though, because Chloe, like on her wall, she has like everybody lies, no exceptions. But then Rachel makes it a point to say that she hates being lied to. She doesn't want to keep being lied to. And then it's like, it's weird to think of overall too, because you can just let her live however much longer she's got, like in peace, you know, happy, doing her thing, or you can give her that closure, give her the answers, give her the opportunity to meet her mom if you got that right, and then just she can decide what she wants to do, because we know like she only has so much time left, unfortunately. But I don't want her to like live the remainder of what she's got with a lie, and I want Chloe to keep being the one who's like honest with her, not like the only one who's honest with her, but like I don't want to have Chloe lie to her about something like that.
Nah, very well. I mean, for me, I can't really remember what I did in my original playthrough, but I want to say I think I actually lied, because when I played it again and told the truth, it all seemed very new, like the animations, like I felt like I hadn't seen them before. I don't know why I picked lie. I've obviously changed as an individual between now and then, so I don't know if I thought, oh, Sarah doesn't want to meet her, I better protect her. But I do agree, and I also think that the truth option, yeah, like you say, it is the morally right thing to do. Rachel deserves to know everything. But on top of that, I think canon-wise, it makes more sense as well, because like if you look at the outro, you've absolutely shattered the Amber family. Like James is throwing a glass kind of thing. And then I think that gives her more fuel, like, I don't want to be with my family, I've got more motive to go to Cali now. And then she probably, from that, ended up getting with Frank, right? Because he probably saw solace in Frank. So I think that made the most sense. We really tried our best on the stream to get the ending where you get to meet Sarah. People have told me that mine was probably glitched and I should have seen Sarah at the end, but I just didn't. But so I had to watch a video afterwards to see what that happened. But it's quite a nice ending where there's a hug there. So yeah, I mean, that is Before the Storm. Then we get like the outro where we get some lovely little things where maybe you get like Nathan and Samantha that could have a little scene, Drew, Steph, Mikey playing tabletop, Eliot packing his bags, leaving Blackwell, get in. The proposal, as we mentioned, yeah, Frank killing Damon. So yeah, there's a lot there. And then we get this really beautiful ending with one of maybe my favorite song ever, Wolf Alice, my favorite band, Bros, where we get this really cool Rachel and Chloe ending. And I think like it meant a lot to me as well, because you almost think, oh, we're just gonna get like, oh, Rachel ends up in like Jefferson's darkroom, that's the ending. But it is nice to know that they got this little cool moment where they took photos together. Rachel was present when Chloe got to completely change her hair to the color blue. So yeah, no, I just really like this outro. What did you make of it, Anya?
I love it a lot. I love my Chloe and Rachel. And then the ending of it is literally just like a punch in the throat. Like I forgot like almost like what game I was playing and what story was like gonna be told. It was just like, oh yeah, that's how it ends. Like I can only be happy for so long in this moment. And I do wish too, like we got a little bit more, I don't know, make more time, more episodes or something to see more of those moments, like Chloe dyeing her hair fully, Rachel getting the tattoo, just anything like that. Little cute slice of life. I do like it as a montage, and the song I love as well. I don't know. I think just like the amount of time that they had with the 3 episodes and the story that they decided to tell, it's like, I don't know, I just wanted more.
No, I do get you. It does feel like it just sort of like, I know you've obviously hinted at this episode they did a few things that you potentially disagree with, like taking out Rachel so early, and then like the ending maybe not being up to par because it's just realistically it's an off-screen fight and then a conversation, right? So I actually do somewhat agree with you in that aspect. I do think that this episode may be the weaker out of the 3. I definitely think episode 2 is the strongest of the 3, I would argue. But how about you, Jack? Would you say that you have like a favorite episode, and what did you make of like the whole ending there?
Oh yeah, like episode 2 is my favourite one. To hark back to the hospital scene, I thought it was like really effective as well. Like when you told her the truth that all like the audio was cut, and you just saw the reactions of the characters, more so Rachel, and then obviously kicking off with the Ambers when they come in as well. But as far as the outros, I think the outros are just really, really strong in this game, full stop. And it's one of them, isn't it? Like, you play the whole game, you know what the fate of Rachel is, but you almost, at least in my case, almost semi-forget it because you still want to have that good ending for Chloe and Rachel, which is why when you've had the montage of them, they're taking the photos, they're doing stuff together on the back of them planning to go on a trip away and stuff. You know, you see that scene where you just hear the photographs and the phone ringing, and it brings you back down to reality as to, oh yeah, that's where ultimately everything ends up. So it's almost bittersweet, but in a way, like, you got the best possible ending that you could, especially if Rachel did see her mum. So I thought it was really, really strong, mate.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? The choice as well, the fact that it was like 51% versus 49% shows just how divisive this ending is. And I think, like, when you look at like all the different Life is Strange endings, one of them usually has a higher percentage where a lot of people are picking the same ending. I think this might be the most split, like hair-splitting decision in Life is Strange history for like a finale. So yeah, like, it was really well written in order for them to kind of achieve that. But I do agree, like, with the whole sucker punch ending, you have this really lovely moment, and then you do get the throat punch of like the Jefferson photos, and I think the whole thing makes me sympathize with Chloe that much more. I know we've covered it to death, but like, a lot of people discuss how they dislike Chloe as a character, think she's an awful person to Max, but I think that's the main thing which I take from Before the Storm is, like, if you did think that way of Chloe, this is the game which really makes you change your perspective on Chloe, because you see all the shit she went through, like the dream sequences with William, how close she was to this Rachel person, for that person to get taken away just like Max like left her. So you really understand the abandonment issues she goes through. So yeah, I just want to kind of gauge for you guys. I'll start with you, Anya. Did Before the Storm change your perspective on Chloe, or were you always just a massive Chloe fan?
It helps me for sure. Like, I even like to this day, Chloe is still a character for me that I flip flop on. Like, sometimes I really hate her and like how she replies to things, but then I look at her, I'm like, oh yeah, I get why you're the way you are. And like, Before the Storm does a great job of characterizing her. Like, and I think I said last episode too, it's weird how they decided to characterize her like in double exposure. Like, you're the same writers and you seem to understand how Chloe came to be the way she was from the first game, and you did a good job building upon that. And then they just say fuck all and toss it all out the window. But I don't know, they did a good job of helping me empathize with her more, even though I already did, have the empathy for her. I know, like, she's had a rough go, like, she's lost Rachel, she's lost her dad, she's stuck with David, Max left her for years, and now she's just suddenly back, and things are great and fine, but it's not going to heal Chloe right away. There's still so much stuff that is touched on, like, in this backstory too.
Nah, completely agreed. Jack, how about you? Did Before the Storm change your perspective of Chloe or Arcadia Bay in general?
Not massively. I was never anti-Chloe. I think just what Before the Storm did is, like, I have to echo what Anya said, is that you really got to understand Chloe more, because you have that point of view perspective of her. You see where she comes from. You see the things that she's having to deal with on a day-to-day basis. The thing with her mum and dad, the thing with David, obviously with Rachel coming into the fold. But even within the game, you see how the Chloe we come to know in Life is Strange 1 comes about through the car, through things like the blue hair as well. So no, I wouldn't say it's massively changed, but I think I would say that I think she, whether this is a hot take or not, I feel she's for me the most iconic character in the Life is Strange universe. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, to be honest, mate. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty happy to wrap up the conclusion of Before the Storm and our overall thoughts and opinions, because Farewell is just such a bonus DLC that I think that's its own entity almost. So I just kind of want to ask you guys, Before the Storm, was it a success? Do you guys have a rating out of 10? What did you dislike the most? What would you change? Kind of like, are you glad this game came out? I'll start with you, Jack.
Oh, I'm really glad, really glad that I revisited this one, because I feel it was almost a given. Yeah, Life is Strange 1 is the best, and then I thought there was a bit of a gulf, and then the others followed. Replaying this, I've almost had to put like you could probably tell through the analysis, I've almost had like my English literature hat on, because I've been like seeing things that I didn't pick up in my first playthrough and like analysing stuff. And for me now, there's like such a small gap between Life is Strange 1 and Before the Storm that it is like massively shut up. It it was already in second place, but I feel like the difference for me is that it's got so much closer to Life is Strange 1. So, yeah, I really, really rate this game. As far as what I'd give it out of 10, no, probably like an 8, 8.5. But I genuinely can't think of reasons why it wouldn't be 10. Like, I can't think right now of things that I dislike. Maybe like the back talk thing, like the fact that was a little bit weak. But yeah, I'll have to ponder on that a bit more, lad.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. The backtalk section, I could was completely done without. The voice acting was so weird in certain areas. I think maybe the game tried to compensate for the fact that there wasn't a power. But for me, the game didn't need a power. You know, this is a game where, like, for me, I loved Life is Strange 1 so much that I was sad to leave Arcadia Bay. And I was just so happy to revisit it, and I really like what they did. They made it a prequel of what happened to Chloe, like after Max left, and kind of like the trials she had to go through and the trauma she went through, and then you got to discover who Rachel was. So I think it was like a complete success. There were definitely stuff they could have changed, like I said, the voice acting, the back talking, and yeah, it was a slower experience, but I didn't mind that, because for me, Before the Storm is just about being almost like a tourist of nostalgia, just going back through the locations and kind of just seeing some changes. So yeah, just an absolute slam dunk game for me. It's not going to be Life is Strange 1 because it doesn't have the same tools, and it couldn't be like as good as Life is Strange 1. But you know what? Deck 9 did a darn good job coming pretty close, in my opinion. I don't know if you share the same sentiments, Anya, or if there's any sort of things that you dislike about the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, the time it came out, I did really enjoy it. I love to revisit Arcadia Bay. It's probably one of my favorite, like, fictional settings in any kind of video game. I would love to live there, assuming I don't get scooped up by a tornado. Or there's just a lot of bad shit that goes on there. But I still like it. And then it's nice to see Rachel as well as a character. I know that there is, like, some people who say, like, they kind of like her better as just, like, this entity from the first game. Like, you never get to meet her. You don't know what she's actually like. She's better as a mystery. I can see that too, but I also do still like seeing how she was, and you can, like, kind of make your own relationship with her and Chloe. Like, you can have them just be friends. You can have them be something more, whatever you want to do. Because, like it or not, she is a part of Chloe's life, and they help each other a lot during that time. I think, like, overall, I've grown to like the story a little bit less, like, that they decided to go with, like, just spending a lot of time, like, in Rachel's family drama, like, instead of just, I don't know, maybe just, like, answering a couple other questions that we had, like, how did Rachel and Frank end up together, like, how did Jefferson get involved with Nathan and Rachel, like, all of that. But I guess, like, if you're looking through Chloe as a protagonist, like, through her perspective, she's not going to know everything about that, so I don't know how we would get those answers, really. I don't know. I like it, but I still, like, would prefer 1 or 2 over it, so I don't know what I would rank it.
I get you. Can you imagine if in that outro we had a final shot of, like, Jefferson coming out his car to start at Blackwell, and then Ray Wells, like, shaking his hand, and, like, how harrowing that would have been. So yeah, like, I can just picture a few things I probably would change differently. But yeah, no, I think your opinions are completely valid, you know, which is why it doesn't really, like, beat Life is Strange 1, but yeah, like, it does a lot of things right. Very well. Well, guys, that was our analysis for Before the Storm. I'm quite sad to finish it, actually, because I've really enjoyed this game, but don't worry, we will be coming back with Farewell next week, where we're going to look back at the prequel, where we get to be Max and Chloe as pirate kids again, so we're going to be able to enjoy that little short chapter and give our thoughts and feelings of it. But thank you very much for anyone who's, like, made it all the way through and, like, watched these analysis. Be sure to check out the rest of our channel, where we have a lot more Life is Strange videos, a whole library of content for you to get through. But thank you very much, guys. We will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Catch you later.